What, Bellamy over the last, 2022 has been getting diesel. When did you start this effort, this fitness? I mean, you've always been fitness conscious, but you've taken it to another level lately.
This competition, Mr. Health and Fitness through Muscle and Fitness magazine, kind of just put more emphasis on my efforts. I've always, been in the, I would say more so seriously in like 2014, been, in the gym and what have you. And this was just another opportunity to kind of, get more focused on it. And it came up, I got selected, and, here we are.
So when we start the program, guys, you'll see Bellamy, you'll see this man who's a Charlottesville stakeholder. We'll talk local, we'll talk this effort that is paying dividends. Mr. Health and Fitness is I mean, this is a national award.
Yeah.
Is this a global award?
No, I don't think it's global. It's definitely
national. It's big time.
Yeah.
This is big time.
Yeah.
Dude's doing big time things yet again. I'm going to get his take on Lloyd Snook announcing he's running for re-election.
Yeah.
I think we both, at least Judah and I, will ask Bellamy his take as well. We both anticipate Michael Payne is going to run again.
Yeah.
We'll get Bellamy's take on that. We'll get his take on Cena McGill. Remember, he ran at a time when Snook, McGill, and Payne all ran for city council. This guy has a lot of knowledge and institutional memory when it comes to local government. We'll pick his brain on that and then talk all the hot button topics on the show today.
Yeah.
Judah, we can rock and roll when you're ready. Bellamy, should we do it?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Guys, good Wednesday afternoon. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille show. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are live from downtown Charlottesville, but our audience is Central Virginia-wide, Commonwealth-wide, country-wide, and worldwide here on the I Love CVille network. So much we're going to cover with friend of the show, Bellamy Brown, in the house. You will see him in T-minus 60 seconds. I'll cut to the chase. Dude is jacked. I mean, dude has always been fitness and health conscious, but he's making a push to become Mr. Health and Fitness, and as of today, or yesterday at 7:04 a.m., he was in first place in his group. And he's been putting in the work, and the gains and results are real and tangible.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that effort with Bellamy Brown here in a matter of moments. A Marine,
Yes.
Bellamy Brown, a Charlottesville stakeholder, a man on multiple boards, a man who's run for city council, an all-around great guy, Bellamy Brown.
I appreciate that.
We'll give some props to Skooma Boutique Dispensary for being part of the show. The best dispensary in Charlottesville is Skooma Boutique Dispensary, with a location on the downtown mall and now on Elliowood Avenue, the UVA corner. More locations to come for the brand that we love, Skooma. We also give props to Greenberries and tell the viewers how they can win free coffee for a year. Enter.greenberries.com. If you'd like to win free coffee for a year. Judah Wickower is our director. You should have a 3-shot ready to go, just in case, J-Dubs. But let's go to the studio camera first, and then the 2-shot, and welcome Bellamy to the program. Bellamy, good afternoon. What's up, man?
Good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Should I say Bellamy, potentially Mr. Health and Fitness Brown? I mean, it's got a great ring to it.
Hopefully.
What's going on?
So this is a competition that I just randomly entered, I guess, a few months back. It took a while for them to select their participants. Generally in the, I guess, what do you call it, the exercise fitness space, you'll have like sponsors that look for athletes or whatever, and Muscle and Fitness is no different. And so they started this competition. I got selected. I didn't know how I was going to work out, because it's different from like your physique kind of competitions. And apparently I'm doing pretty well. 3 stages away from becoming Mr. Health and Fitness, and hopefully we
That's big time.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so big time.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this here. You've always been health and fitness conscious.
Sure.
You're stepping it up another level here.
Yeah.
What inspired this?
So I think, and I was telling Judah this. So, aside from the politics coming home and what have you, there's this philosophy that kind of developed for me over the past decade or so that focuses on total wellness, and for me that is spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and financial. And so this is just one component of that. And I've always been in the gym. I was down to 16% body fat before this competition started.
Dang.
And so I don't know. I have a physique in mind that I want to work toward, and that's really what's been the driver. But this has just added more emphasis on it.
You, the viewer and listener, can give props to Bellamy Brown by leaving your comments in the comment section. Vanessa Parkhill giving you the heart emoji here on the program. She's the queen of Earlysville. How would you characterize your time and tenure and experience in politics in Charlottesville? And then the follow-up question would be, how has that motivated or been a foundation for motivating you to get even more fitness conscious? Because if I know you, I feel like I know you fairly well. I would feel like the fitness and the exercising and the lifting are one of the best stress relievers you have in your life. Is that fair?
Sure. So I would say when things got really thick.
Because you were in the thick for a little while, and I've been in the thick, and it's not always easy.
Yeah, I think when things got really thick, that's when it became. I mean, I just had to do it. I mean, there had to be some avenue for navigating the circumstances that were going on, and so that really, it's. I don't know. I mean, when you have circumstances, I was talking with Jude as well, where a lot of negativity and things are going, whether it's stock market or Russia or whatever, that energy can get in your body or whatever. You got to expend that. Find some healthy way to expend that. And for me, whatever life circumstances comes up that triggers that, going to the gym and doing the fitness is a way to expend that stagnant energy for me. And so that was a pretty intense period. I needed to be focused and have sound direction, and so it helped out a lot.
So what's the workout routine like? I mean, are we doing like P90X?
No, so my core. I have two main ones. One's a German volume training. That's 10 sets, 10 repetitions of 2 exercises, and you're working out like your different body sections over 4 or 5 days a week. I'll add some cardio to that to kind of give some more emphasis to it, and that's about 12 weeks. And once that cuts off, then I'll go into my 8-week fitness model training, which is, I mean, it's not as intense as the German volume, but it does the job as well.
We'll give some props to Anthony Mayo. He's giving you some love right now. If you have questions for Bellamy or want to give him some props, please put your thoughts in the feed and I'll relay it live on air. You already got questions coming in.
Yeah.
The obvious one, you knew it was going to come. I will table it for a little longer in the interview. The re-election question, you knew it was going to come. We'll get to that, Grayson, later in the interview. First, I want to talk to him about where you're working out.
Yes.
How often you're running.
Yeah.
How mindful are you of your diet?
Yeah.
They say you can't out-exercise a bad diet.
Yes.
Which is very true.
Absolutely.
So, dude, how are you getting jacked and lean, and how are you soon to be Mr. Fitness here, Mr. Health and Fitness?
So, well, first, can I plug this? I mean, if you
please,
if you wouldn't mind voting, I mean, that would be helpful. I have my voting link on my Instagram page in the bio, and also on my Facebook page. So again, the German volume is more the lifting aspect. You'll see me biking around town. I mean, that's my primary cardio deal.
Okay.
I do run as well, but that's kind of, I don't know, there's something about doing the biking that just
it's great
with me. Yeah. But I'll also do incline treadmill as well to kind of burn out some sweat. I'm going to integrate some boxing over the summer as well. So,
dude, you're boxing.
Yeah.
And you're bike riding all over town.
You got to be ready, baby.
Something about bike riding. I do some mountain biking. Something about getting on the bike. Makes me nostalgic of childhood.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that too. I was like, maybe that's it. Because we used to, grow up around here just biking everywhere. I don't know. But like, I mean, I know the area like the back of my hand, and so we just go to it. Lately, I've been doing 9 to 13 miles typically. So
That's legit.
yeah, I mean,
So when you're biking around Charlottesville, how do you characterize the change you've seen? You grew up in this area,
and this is
and you don't hold back when you come on this show.
all right, fair enough. So I actually pulled this picture, and this is no slight to Dairy Market and what they've done.
Okay.
But there's a picture of Dairy Market and then the church behind it. Now, to me, that brings both things together. So I grew up 2 blocks away from the church. That church used to belong to.
So 10th and Page.
So right there is 10th and Grady where the church is. I grew up on 12th and Grady, 12th and Rochester down.
Okay.
So, but that church used to belong to the Noel family. A lot of, it was completely black growing up. Not so much anymore.
No.
And so that, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, who knows how long it'll take, but that church will probably be gone at some point too. And that is what I've seen. That's the that transition from being predominantly black to not being predominantly black. And just a friend of mine who lives in Richmond said that Charlottesville is basically bland.
We call it homogenous, but
Yeah.
bland works. Yeah. It's very bland.
Yeah.
So she's basically meaning she's basically calling it white. Isn't that what she's calling it?
Yeah.
Right?
With 6 figures.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Do we think, has any effort been made in solving this housing affordability? So the phrase has been pivoted.
Yeah.
And when you were running, and for so long it was affordable housing.
Yeah.
And our friend, we have a common friend, Keith Smith, who I believe is watching the show.
Yes.
And he has pivoted the phrase and has led this pivot
Uh-huh.
from affordable housing to housing affordability.
Yeah.
And why we've made that pivot, cut to the chase, is because affordable housing is not realistic in this area.
It's not. It's
Right?
not at all. Not
Okay,
even
your
close.
take on any of this?
Not even close. I mean, again, and what I was saying, and this has always been the case. The local government does not outperform the economy, the outside economy that's going on, the outside deals that are going on, the private transactions that are going on, and that's what's really driving everything. And you got some stakeholders that are involved with UVA and all the other land opportunities around here. It's just, that's just the way things are. And then you look at what jobs are coming in. Again, and this is not, I'm not knocking anybody. I mean, people are taking, they're using the market for their advantages. I mean, but you got a lot of data analyst jobs here in competition with Silicon Valley. Those are, that data analyst position is supposed to be the number 1 job for the next decade or so, at minimum 6 figures. You got tech and finance and everything else here, and you got folk, UVA alum that are, hey, Charlottesville's great, let me come back. From places like New York and everywhere else, getting property on for them, the cheap, and that's kind of the driver. I was talking to some other folk recently, and they were like, hey, there's I guess a couple folk don't even live here, and they got properties here just to come here to watch football on the weekends, that kind of stuff. And so it's really changed the forces. And again, when you look at the historical dysfunction of local government, they've never been able to catch up. And maybe that's by design, maybe it's not.
What does that mean? By design. So
They
everything
don't want
you-
to. There is a friend, another friend of mine. We call it a virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Virtue signaling when it comes to the dynamics involving African Americans in this space.
What's that mean?
That means, hey, we'll throw you $50,000 here, or we'll pat you on the back for X, Y, Z. Meanwhile, everything else that's really important and it's driving the economy and all the other things are behind the scenes, still moving as usual. So it's like on the surface, hey, look at what we're doing. No, it's behind the scenes that's really driving everything. And a lot of folk, I've seen folk, get caught up in this virtue signaling, and it's to their own detriment. And I played in that space, for some time, and I can read the tea leaves. So I don't know if that's too.
No, that was great. I agree 100% with you. Questions coming in, guys. I promise you, we'll get to the re-election question. Bellamy's got a lot of friends that watch this program here. Do we think the role is one of the roles of local government to maintain community diversity? Or is that not what local government is supposed to do? Because as you've already identified and as we've covered on this show, interest rates are going up.
Yeah.
Assessments in the city, 12% roughly on average year over year.
Yeah.
Personal property taxes are going up.
Yeah.
Rent is going up.
Yeah.
We got, as you've already pointed out, people moving in from outside the area with six-figure jobs, taking up rooftops.
Yeah.
I just don't see the diversity becoming realistic or improving anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. It's, again, the market drivers, the market forces are there. You just had the former chair of the Fed say that she made a mistake in not recognizing that inflation was on the horizon in the way that it is. And who's going to get hurt? The folk that don't have capital.
That's right.
When I was running, it was 17,000 poor African Americans in this community primarily. There are no jobs. They're not taking up the six-figure jobs that's going into code building and everything else. So what do you think is going to happen? That's what it is. And my thought is, there were land trusts and things and money going to certain of those land trusts, but there's never been a black land trust or any of that stuff. I think the pendulum has swung so far that you're not going to be able to catch up. And go ahead.
Follow-up question, tough one. Bill McChenzie says, hi, Bellamy.
Hi, Bill.
Jennifer is singing your praises and saying you should have been on council and you should have been elected. That's the follow-up question for me.
Yeah.
You were you are, not past tense, but present and future tense. You are a champion for the underserved. You are a champion for common sense.
Yeah.
You're a champion for economic verticality,
Yeah.
climbing the vertical ladder
Yeah.
of the economy.
Yeah.
Do you feel when you ran for election that you should have gotten more support, especially in the voter box or the voter booth,
Yeah.
from the folks that you were going balls to the wall for? Because you went balls to the wall.
Yeah, I think you have to. So what I've realized in that time span is Charlottesville has about five to seven different personalities or groups, and you're not going to be liked by all of them. I can only go so far as to state what I'm about, or was about at that time, the vision that I had for our community, what I felt like I could bring to the community. If folk don't grasp that or don't want to grasp that for whatever reason, I can't. It is what it is. I think everything speaks for itself. I'm still in the box, still, as Theodore Roosevelt said, still in the arena, doing things, and either way, I've gotten work done on behalf of the community. I'm still fighting. That's what I was going to go to. So our country itself is built up on two systems primarily: the economic system and this, the legal system or physical freedom system. Here in Charlottesville, the economic system for African Americans, that train is left. That boat is gone. With the work that I do with the other board members on the oversight board, that is an avenue to kind of give that physical or help facilitate that physical freedom while they're still here. And the next 5 years, that population is going to dwindle. And we've gotten a significant ordinance from 2019 on the board, and while I was chairman, and for me that's a win. And we're still doing the work in that particular space. But economically, the train is gone.
Why is the train gone? And what can be done to get the train back in the
train?
station?
The train can't get back in the station.
Not even
you can't get back.
Not even cultivating locally sourced jobs.
How are you going to do that?
STEM Foundation.
Okay, but where's that? Okay, so what's the trend? What is the how long is it going to take to get there?
It's going to take a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
very
who's
long
already
time.
ready? Who's already ready? Exactly.
To your point, is what you're alluding to, who is already ready, is the folks that are becoming the dominant market share demographic of Charlottesville? Is that what you're saying?
There's a data science school that was just built.
Yeah.
Who is it built for?
Yeah. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So what do we do? I mean, how old are you?
43.
Okay, so you're aging extremely well. I swear to God, I would have guessed 33. So you're 43. Is our job then? Do we just throw our hands up in the air and we're like, we can't do anything about it?
I think behind the scenes, it's always been we're not going to do anything about it. And I think
You try to do something about it?
That's been I tried, but it was one man against multiple others.
You thought you were spitting into the wind?
I just came down here. I had a mission, and I just came down here and worked toward that to try and get some things done. And chips fall where they may. I feel like I ended up where I was supposed to be on the oversight board, and I'm still doing good work in that space. But again, it's Charlottesville. The Charlottesville political community and environment as a whole is very different from what I knew growing up. Obviously, I wasn't involved in politics growing up, but it was very different. And I think for a town this city this small, there's just a lot that's going on.
Give us an anecdote, like a firsthand story of something behind the scenes that you went through where you're like, man, this is small town but big city politics here. And Bill McKenzie says this, that beating the well-oiled Dem machine is incredibly difficult to do. So give us a first-hand account.
I think from my observations, I've seen that there are minority faces out in the front with Caucasian hands behind the scenes, and that's just one section.
Wow.
Other sections we're great, we're fine, we don't have to worry about any of the other stuff. Other sections there's complete apathy because everything's been the way it's always been. So that's a lot, when you're trying to get stuff done, and you're also trying to take care of yourself. That's a lot to really navigate.
So let's get to the $68 million question that now 3 people are asking on the feed. You have fans out there. I am a huge Bellamy Brown fan. Are you going to run for city council or any other office next election cycle?
I'm definitely not running for it.
Definitely not. That's a bummer. I'm disappointed by that. Are you not disappointed by that, Judah Wickower?
I'm definitely not running for Charleston City Council. No, not at all. What the future holds for any other office, I don't know at this point, but that is a definitely no.
Andrea Gregg giving you props. Somerville, South Carolina in the house. So why no? Why no? And I know he's saying he's got a question here for why you're not running. Why no?
Because have you not watched the last year?
I mean,
that was free work, and you want to jump it up, by what? $20,000 at most?
Probably 4 or 5x of output
kidding
for
me?
18 or 20K a year of salary.
That is no. It's no. I was telling what I said earlier. When you look at total wellness, that have those five areas. And again, my first running, that was mission oriented. That was what I was, felt like I was supposed to do, so I did it. But health wise, what I've seen behind the scenes and sure, the climate's different, whatever else.
The climate's very different.
But you still have things that you have to deal with. And I'm like, a friend of mine says I gave my pound of flesh already, so.
Some could make an argument that it was a few pounds of flesh. It's a few pounds of flesh, and we stood by you tall on this show here, tall for Bellamy Brown. All right, well then I'll throw this to you here. This is a natural follow-up question. Should the local councilors, the Charlottesville City Councilors, even Board of Supervisors, be paid as if it was a full-time job then? Because you alluded just there moments ago
Yeah.
that you did a boatload of, you have done, you are
Yeah.
doing a boatload of free work for the betterment of the community.
Yeah.
And people should be compensated for their work and their time and their effort.
Yeah.
Should these positions be professional careers?
So,
You thought about this? I know you have.
So my philosophy on governing and the Constitution and public service is, yes, go ahead and do public service, but not for in perpetuity. Not for the rest of your life. Maybe a term or two, and move on. Let somebody else have a do their thing. I think with the amount of BS that you have to deal with, 18 to 20 grand doesn't tickle me. Somebody not having experienced it coming in, they'd be like, oh yeah, whatever. But having gone through a brutal period for what?
So the flip side of the coin is that if you make them significantly deeper in pay, then you could have potentially the career politician at the local level.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and whether a council or whether the state general assembly, again puts term limits on that. I mean, that could be an option, but for the menial challenges or for the menial pay, with all the challenges that are there, I mean, it's a lot.
Are you surprised Lloyd Snook's running for re-election? He sat in your chair and announced he's running for re-election. You surprised by that?
No, no, I'm not.
You expect Payne to run? Right, Theo is watching the program and giving you props. You got a lot of fans out there, dude.
Thank you. Michael, I've seen Michael be pretty busy lately.
Dude, very active on social media.
It's almost giving me hives.
Active on social media, Michael Payne.
They're giving me hives just thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, 2019, So, yeah, I would say from observations, yeah, he would, be running.
So Michael, guys, is as active as we have ever seen him on social media with posts almost every single day, and him being grassroots, doing events almost every single day.
Yeah.
So my instinct is he's also running for re-election. How would you characterize the state of Charlottesville right now? Are we in a good place or a bad place?
I think it's calmer. I would say we are in a better place. We're in an uptrend. I think if you remember our last interview, what I said was if this community wanted to, I guess, survive and move forward, it would have to make some changes, and those changes wouldn't necessarily materialize immediately, but over time. And so I think we're in that space where it's over time. And at the same token, even though the economy and everything else has trended away from the African American community, I still expect, with regard to the physical freedom and everything else, that counselors will look at the community as a whole and do their service for the entire community, not just the status quo that it has been.
John Blair watching the program, giving you props.
That's my buddy.
We love JB.
Yeah.
John Blair, nothing but love for you here. The recession, which we know we're in recessions with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
You're as astute a financial guy as we have here in Charlottesville. I don't want to assume, so I'm going to ask you this. Do you think we're in a recession? I think we're in a recession now. Flirting with one?
I think we are getting toward that space. I mean, I read a stat the other day that said that some of the luxury ends they've just kind of stopped.
They've softened.
They've softened.
Yeah.
But then you still have like on the lower economic space where even going to Walmart is like, we're not necessarily doing that anymore. So I think it just depends on where. As a whole, I don't think we're fully in there yet. I mean, we've already been hurting to begin with.
Yeah.
And especially here, again, in Charlottesville. But Charlottesville also has the anomaly of
UVA.
You got UVA and you got a hell of a bunch of millionaires and wealthy folk here on one end of the spectrum. And you got a bunch of, non-wealthy folk on the other end of the spectrum. And that's just, the market's just pushing it,
Do we think this is the fear I have, that the recession will widen the wealth and educational gap?
100%.
And this area in particular?
100%, without a doubt, because you got to think that people who are not in the economic advantage space, they're going to stop buying. Whereas, I mean, I guarantee you got investors on the sides like, oh yeah, go down.
This is opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as soon as it gets to that, whatever that trigger number is, boom, so that's, it's definitely going to work.
So guys, we started this interview and we very much encourage you to vote for Bellamy Brown for Mr. Health and Fitness.
Yes.
Please vote for Bellamy Brown, Mr. Health and Fitness.
Yes.
The link to vote for this man is on his Instagram page.
On my Instagram, it's on my Facebook
on your
page. I'll
Facebook.
repost it again. And it's, real quick, it's featured muscleandfitnessaltogether.com /2022 /Bellamy BELLAMY -BR.
I like it. So this is the question I have. We started this interview talking about you and this quest to become Mr. Health and Fitness and how you're biking around Charlottesville.
Yeah.
You grew up a couple of blocks from Dairy Market.
Yeah.
And you said as you're riding your bicycle around Charlottesville, you, not surprised because we've seen this coming, but it's very obvious how gentrified and homogenous the community has become with its citizen demographic.
So, a word on the gentrification term, word, whatever. So the way I see it in these private transactions, you may have black families that are like a couple 100,000. That's the most we've seen. Check it out.
Sell the house.
Yeah.
Especially second generation that may have inherited the house.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you got folk that are coming in, usually white folk from other areas that are, former UVA alum or UVA alum, all these other spaces is like, that's a drop in the bucket. Let me tell you what I do. So is that gentrification or is that an actual market transaction? Was that
So that's a good point. I would say that's not gentrification. I would say that's how the market evolves. I would say what could be gentrification that led to the property being initially listed was the increase in taxes.
Sure.
Where the second generation's like, we don't live here, taxes gone up, let's sell.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, when they were talking about 10 cents, I was like, that's
absurd.
That's absolutely crazy.
It's absurd.
At the very least, you would do 2 cents over 5 years, and
you ladder it.
Yeah. But
this is why you should have been on council. So I swear to God, because he's got common sense here. So what he's talking about was the real estate property tax, the real estate tax rate, and council, which is a complete oxymoron and hypocrisy. Council cannot be pro affordable housing or housing affordability and even legitimately consider a 10-cent real estate tax rate increase because those two things are polar opposites.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, without a doubt. And you can't sit here and tell me that we are, again, this virtue signaling, we are supporting our poor folk, primarily black folk, and affordability, and having something like that. It's just, those don't go together.
Yeah.
And you're not putting forth legislation that's going to go to legitimate legislation that doesn't go toward that end. So, I've been here, 2018 for going on 5 years now.
And you grew up here.
Yeah. I've been back here 5 years. And I'm just like, I've seen a lot. And, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I can do still. But I can't give any more flesh.
So the next question would be, when you're riding your bike again 5 years from now, you've been here 5 years.
Yeah.
You've come back, been here 5 years after growing up.
Yeah.
You're riding your bike in this exercise, in this quest to get fit and super healthy, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
In 5 years, when you ride your bike again, what will you see in Charlottesville?
More homogeneity? Is that what you're...
I think that's the word. That's well said.
Yeah.
Homogeneity.
Yeah. That's what you're going to see.
Bill, ask him what he thinks about folks that want to dismantle the local natural gas system. You have a take on that? And then more questions coming in for you.
I don't remember all of the... I remember briefly touching on the benefits of that, but I don't have all the information, so I can't intelligently speak to that right now.
Fair. Vanessa Parkhill, Queen of Earlysville. As the local government becomes more involved in our day-to-day lives and takes on more responsibility, government will grow, thus more demanding on councilors' time, resulting in the desire for higher pay. Solution: stop growing the government, please. Vanessa Parkhill, your thoughts on that?
I'm doing my work for free.
Yeah.
And
You should be compensated.
I still give a ton. So if that was that growth, I don't think it's growth in this particular, when you're talking about oversight, the Police Civilian Oversight Board, I don't think it's growth to ensure that citizens of this community are able to raise the BS flag when their government overreaches with regard to their rights. I don't know, some of the other offices that she may have in mind, but I don't know if that's necessarily a fair deal, because it's a lot of us do this without compensation, and take a lot of hits for it.
David Bridges watching the program and giving you some props here. 4 states on the feed watching Bellamy Brown. Guys, we're going to give out this URL again for you to vote for Bellamy, for Mr. Health and Fitness. Do you think, and more comments are coming in here, do you think that the government locally should, what can be done to keep this evolution from happening with the demographic of citizenry? Do we need more tax relief? Do we need a stronger commitment to land trust? I mean, look.
I think that. I mean, if you're really going to be serious about a land trust,
look at Friendship Court and what it's about to become.
Yeah,
it's going to look very different.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're serious about a land trust, you got to do it and do it yesterday. And you're behind the curve on that. And as long as it takes for ordinances and things to get passed around here, that's another virtue signal. That when I came, this is 2019, and folk black folk were saying, Charlottesville is famous for talking, but not doing anything. So.
Would you have done anything differently?
I would have explored more of the options. I mean, it's different from when you're taking a 30,000 foot view versus when you get down into the weeds and see what's going on and how do you navigate X, Y, Z. And it does take some time to move that along. So I would have looked at what options were available, recognized what the market forces are, and there are some pretty powerful market forces. I think held in a few hands in Charlottesville.
What's that? An allusion to the control the Dems have over Charlottesville?
No. These are outside of politics from the business aspect. When you're talking about opportunities for building houses and everything, I think it's within a few hands, and this is aside from your normal whatever single family home or whatever it is that you're going to get, they can play the long game because they have capital and everything else, whereas everybody else can't. So.
Bellamy Brown, guys, on today's show, what do you make of City Council and the interim consultant city manager now making a push to hire the police chief? So we're basically going to have the police chief hired before the city manager is hired, the full-time city manager. Can we talk about this?
I just hope that there is one of the things that was presented to the board is that the community has involvement in that process. I hope that board members, I'm not the chair anymore, I'm not the voice of the board, I'm speaking only for myself, can have involvement in that process. I think at the end of the day, the climate that takes place within the police department can and does spill out into the community. And if there are any repercussions from poor leadership or XYZ, that the BS flag has to be raised on that. So that would be, the city manager has that's within his purview to do. It was within the purview of the former city managers. It's always been in that purview. But we would hope, given that that police chief would ultimately be serving the community as a whole, that the community could have some input and the board itself.
Landon Fishburne, welcome to the show. Had conversations with upper level men and women on the CPD.
Yeah.
I did, and I'm very much taken aback by the openings within the department.
Yeah.
And I'm also very much taken aback that our police officers cannot afford, in large part, to live in the city they serve.
Yeah.
And when talking with officers and middle and upper management in the department, they've indicated that the officers are choosing instead to work for other forces, other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Because they're closer to their house, they don't have to commute, and these other jurisdictions around Charlottesville are actually paying, in some ways, more money
Yeah.
than what the CPD is doing. So the fear, the concern is that you have a community that has police officers that don't live in it, that are serving it. And then the other fear you have is the attrition and the turnover in the department, because if you can't match pay, you're going to lose officers.
Yeah.
What's your take on this here? This is also, and this is me saying this. This is me saying this, not you.
Yeah.
Me saying this, not him. I also attribute the attrition and the turnover to leadership issues in the past, and that have created confidence and trust issues. And that's me saying that, not him. So your thoughts, and we don't have to go down this road if you don't want to, if it hits too close to home. It's
No,
completely
it's
your call. I have too much respect for you to make you uncomfortable on this show.
No, you know.
Okay, I want to emphasize that.
So, in my work and preparation for being on the board, again, I'm not the chairman, I'm not the spokesperson, I'm only speaking for myself. In my due diligence, when I looked at police departments in Europe and some of these other countries, there was a significant amount of training that was offered or presented before they could even be out in the workforce. And that's, some of them had 4-year degrees. There was a 4-year degree requirement and some other stuff. But there was a significant amount of training. That obviously takes capital. I think when you're looking at the notion of what kind of policing a community ultimately wants, you have to take those things into consideration and really come out with some sound solutions. I think the U.S.-based policing in and of itself, as a whole, I think the study was maybe, like 6 months or so of training. Part of that training is, the community's out to get you, put a gun in their hands, and send them out on the street. And from that, it usually, and this comes from officers, it usually takes about 4 or 5 years before you actually feel like, you're an officer. So in that 4 or 5 year time frame, you obviously, policing in and of itself, you obviously have high risks, but in that time frame leading up to it, you have even greater risks. So, it's multifaceted, just like this, just like the deal down in Texas. You have, that was a shit show. And I'm not speaking as a Marine, I'm speaking, those are babies, you know what I'm saying? And I think how that went down, the same thing, in Parkland, if folk don't have the training, then they shouldn't be out there, period. My uncle, who has been, served our country well in special forces in Vietnam and the Army over 30 or so years, said it takes a kind of special skill to be able to go in and do that. And I know exactly what he was talking about. I'm not going to say it here, but if that's a skill you got to have, then that's a skill that you need to go out and do the job effectively. There's no way that...
You're talking about overcoming the fear to go into a building with a person that has a machine gun or an AR-15 and kill them.
Yeah, and I know that the police chiefs, gave them the stand down order. I'd have been like, hey, I will deal with the repercussions later, but no. This comes into, and I was thinking about this, there is now, I guess, these laws on the books that are saying that if you see an officer doing something out of policy or XYZ, you have to step in and kind of stop him or her. Well, this is the same thing. You can say that, oh, the chief, whatever, come on. The chief's on the ground thinking, oh, there's no active threat, but you can literally see that there is. You can hear that there is. He's not there. This is the same thing if you're over in combat somewhere and you got folk on Capitol Hill or wherever else in some suits. It's that kind of stuff. And there's no way that you should have had parents trying to do the job that the policing should have done. So
Why do you think it took so long for them to go? BS protocol or fear or both?
I would say I think everybody would fall back on the chief's decision of saying not to go in, and I can't speak as to what was in the mindset of those 19 officers, but I know as a Marine,
You would have been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been in there. Pedro Prater giving you props.
Yeah.
Huge Bellamy Brown supporter here. Landon Fishburne giving you some props. I believe he's watching in Nashville, Tennessee. You're a good man. Would you run again? And if you did, would you ever do it as a Dem? Because I think, and we've said this on the show so many times, that if you had, and hindsight's 2020,
Yeah.
but if you had have done it with the D, you would be on the dais.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about that?
Right now I'm just trying to lay low, keep myself out of trouble.
Yeah.
And I'll evaluate from there. I can tell you both parties when it comes to the service of African Americans or serving African Americans
Are light, not doing a great job.
very much, and
Yeah.
it's gradations, obviously. And I would get in where I fit in, where I felt like I could do the most good, and kind of go from there.
Can we get folks riding the bike with you around town to
Yeah.
get into shape too? Would you allow that?
What is that? Run with Jim?
Yeah.
Bike with Bellamy?
Yeah, bike with Bellamy right there. So how can they vote for you, Mr. Health and Fitness?
Yes. Again, go to my Facebook page or my Instagram page. On Instagram, it's in the bio. On Facebook, I'll repost it again. It should be posted there as well. And then also featured muscle and fitness together, all one word, .com /2022 /Bellamy BELLAMY -BR. Thank you, my friend.
You're amazing. We got to do this more.
Yeah.
You going out? You out and about?
Yeah.
Where are folks seeing you around town? Occasionally we'll see you at Dairy Market. It sounds like you're laying low now. Have you cut carbs out altogether? So not a cold drink anymore?
So since this started, I just got some Buffalo Trace that I'm going to look to celebrate with.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that? Which ABC store? That's hard to find.
I know it's hard to find.
Did you go to Scottsville?
I got a little birdie in the woods.
Oh my gosh, he's got the hookup. So you've been keeping it on the lowdown.
Yes, yeah, and so vodka and vodka soda is the lightest
the
with
way to
calories.
go.
But I've been loving trying to get this because I want to get down personally down to 15% body fat and kind of go from there. But
How close are you to your college weight?
I'm never going to hit my college
No?
weight. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was 150 pounds.
Oh, dang.
I stayed 150 pounds until after I graduated from college. And I don't know if that was stress or whatever, but I just
So what are you
couldn't
clocking now? $1.85?
202 this morning.
202? What's preferred walk around?
Say again?
What's preferred walk around weight?
I think 215 of lean, pure lean muscle. We're talking, the abs showing the whole nine. That's
what you want? 215?
Yeah,
Pure
roughly.
lean?
Yeah,
16% body fat?
15.
15.
Yeah, if that pops, I don't think that'll. 15 is. Yeah.
Dude is. You sit like this here, and I see the guns. The guns flexing. So the goal is Mr. Health and Fitness, guys.
Yes.
The link is on his Instagram
Yeah.
and is on his Facebook.
Yeah.
He will post it again. Let's get this guy.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy to be Mr. Health and Fitness.
And if I could also say, so Muscle and Fitness Magazine is part of this competition. They are raising capital to help wounded warriors build homes for wounded warriors. So if you go in there and you see what's called the warrior vote, you have that opportunity to do that as well. And so that's, I mean, the whole package together just kind of, fit who I am with regard to, being a Marine, being a veteran, and the whole fitness deal. And it's just, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's like basically getting up and continue to do what I'm already doing. So
We wish you the best of luck.
thank you, my friend.
Our pleasure. We should do the interview again soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bellamy Brown, guys. Kind enough to join us on the Wednesday edition of the I Love CVille show. A couple takes I'm going to give you here on the show. For those that are asking, the interview in totality will be archived on ilovecville.com. It's also on Bellamy's Facebook page. So the interview archived on ilovecville.com, and it's also on Bellamy Brown's Facebook page. Judah, why don't we go to the two shot real quick so I can weave you in the mix, because I know you have positive praise for that man right there. Dude, that guy would have made a hell of a counselor. That guy has
No doubt.
the common sense approach to life that we respect. That guy is someone who's willing to stand up to bullies and stand up for the underserved. That guy is willing to put in the work. That guy gets results, and he is undoubtedly a leader. If that man was on council today, Charlottesville would be in an even better place than it is. And he said some very straightforward commentary in the interview today, Judah, when he was talking about lip service and how virtue signaling is happening right now by the political parties, where folks are saying they prioritize, or folks are saying that affordability and justice and equality and reform and diversity are prioritized. But he basically said they might be prioritized, but they're not actually genuinely prioritized. And that really hit home with me. That dude would have been a hell of a counselor, Judah Wickower.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think a lot of the problem with not just, I don't know if that is prioritizing. I think oftentimes it's just, I think people just don't realize the outcome that they're pushing for. I think oftentimes, and this is, I believe, true on both sides, that they have this, ideal that they're pushing for, and oftentimes it has
Collateral damage, ramifications.
yeah,
It
exactly.
has a cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this here, and he brought it up. The real estate tax rate increase. Raising the taxes on real estate, they proposed and advertised and marketed a 10-cent increase to the real estate tax rate. And that was done with the motivation or the inspiration of school reconfiguration. And I've said on this show so many times, you cannot raise taxes on vulnerable people, folks living on the financial margin. You cannot raise their taxes in real time and say that it's being done for their betterment and creating social justice, diversity, and educational equality. Because raising the taxes to fund school reconfiguration, a project that would have taken years to finish, would have only hurt the vulnerable that you were trying to serve with school reconfiguration.
Yeah.
And that's the lip service he was talking about. The lip service he was talking about, we're going to raise your real estate taxes to create educational equality. But that educational equality is not going to come to fruition until this construction project is done, which is years from now. And for the next couple years, to fund this construction project, we're going to ask you for some more money. But hey, your kids are going to benefit down the road if you can afford to still live here.
I don't know that it's always lip service. I think oftentimes those initiatives come with the best intentions, and I think that just as often it's the people presenting it don't realize the ultimate
Collateral damage.
the ultimate outcome.
Yeah, don't see the forest through the trees. They don't see the forest through the trees. You're 100% right. All right, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
I'm sure that sometimes it is lip service, but I do like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
That's
and
fair.
I think people in these positions are, you have to, unless you can prove that there is something malicious
Which is
going
going
on.
to be difficult to do.
I think we have to say that these people are not doing this job to screw people over or give lip service, or they're doing this because they want what's best for the community. Whether they go about it in a way that actually does create a better community is up
To
for
be
debate,
determined.
and often in different circumstances. But yeah, I think the people we have are an incredible group of people who all want the best for this community. We may disagree with their methods, but that's a different argument.
Judah Wickower, great way to close right there. He's the director, Judah Wickower. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Live Seville show, where we utilize long-form content to feature the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. I hope you saw that today with our interview with Bellamy Brown. For Judah Wickower, I'm Jerry Miller. This is the I Live Seville show on the I Live Seville network. We will see you tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. with Today y Mañana, co-hosted by Alex Erpy and Xavier Yerpy, right here on the I Live Seville network. Take care, guys. Have a good afternoon.